that can stop them from going to college. It can stop them from getting jobs. It can stop them from pursuing careers. It can stop them from getting type of federal aid. It can stop them from getting all that stuff.
And then
now, right. And a lot of them, what do they have to do? Go back to the streets.
Go back.
They're like, and that's a discussion me and Jerell had the other day. It's like,
what other choice do I kind of have to be like to even make a decent amount of money? I ain't even saying I'm going back to the street now. You know how the game work. You know, you go back to what you know. You go back on the same level you left off on, even though you started with nothing. But you still got your rep. You still got probably your crew. You still got people that you rock with. Same plugs. You know who to go to. You know the numbers to call. Know the areas to go. Right. But it sucks for the fact that now your family, when they want to help you out, your family trying to help you out, they want to, get you on track and everything. You've been in prison talking that God talk. You want to get into, oh man, I'm a follower of God, or I converted to this religion, or whatever, right? And all that's good and dandy until you get out on the street and realize there's no options, bro. At least in jail, I had a job that paid me $4 a day, but I knew my status. I knew who I was. I knew how to conduct myself day to day, right? So now I'm out here and you got sharks that aren't violent, right? Like they may have been potentially in prison and whatnot, but I have so many different threats to my livelihood. And all I'm trying to do is take care of myself, my family. I might have kids. I might just have nieces, nephews I'm trying to provide for, trying to help my mom out. She divorced. She needs help. You ain't got a man there, whatever the situation may be, right? And I want to do that, but now you giving me no legal options. They looking at me, I'm a felon or whatever like that. And like, what options do I really have other than going back to the street, being illegal, taking risk on my life and my freedom?
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Here to give you knowledge that you didn't know. Put you on some game, now you got a buzz. You are now listening to Cannabruhz.
Yo.
What's up?
Yo. What up? First of all, welcome back to another episode of your favorite cannabis podcast, the best cannabis podcast in the game. We talking about the Cannabruhz. That's right, man. I know. I gotta get at my boy Corey. Like, what's popping? What's going on? But look, before we get started, this episode of the Cannabruhz is sponsored by Harvest Accounting Firm LLC. You see the brand. You look in the corner, man. You already know what it is. That is the company, right? That sponsors the Cannabruhz. Corey and I are both founders, but most importantly, you need to know what's going on and how you could be helped by Harvest Accounting Firm. First thing is, you'll see in the description below, there's a link, a Calendly link that you're going to see, calendly.com/harvestaf/strategy session in order to book a free 15-minute call with us so that we can discuss bettering your financial future as a cannabis business. So go ahead and, like I said, click the link in the description below, and let's go ahead and get started. Let's have a conversation. Let's just try to figure out what we can do.
What services do we have to offer? Well,
we're talking about tax planning, tax preparation, cannabis bookkeeping, cannabis. Man, let's go, man. What else? Right? Right. We take care of the whole nine. And then on top of that, you're not just, yes, we do the podcast, and of course we're the founders, but we have a vast network of cannabis professionals who have tons and tons of time and skin in the game to help you with things such as capital and financing, lending, marketing, the whole nine, how you can better your brand and most importantly, increase your revenues in this year so that you guys can come up. So anything that you need, don't just pigeonhole us to accounting and accounting only, but we have so much going on. So if you do need some help, you just click the link in the description below so we can go ahead and get started. It's all about assessing where your business is now so you can do your part to avoid an IRS audit. We got you covered. All right. Yes, sir. And then the second thing that you're going to see in the description below is our URL. So we are up to the point of tax season. It's the
It's
start.
tax season, baby.
It's tax season, baby. And people are already like, hey, I'm broke, baby. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my taxes, and that uncovers a bunch of other stuff. But if you just simply need your taxes done, tax preparation, you can click the other link in the description below. That is harvestaf.mytaxportal.online. You go ahead, you go ahead and create a quick login, get us some of your basic information. We can go ahead and get you started, set up your profile, your folder, and go ahead and take care of your tax preparation needs. No problem at all. So we would love to help, and we are ready to do what we need to do. With that being said, let's start the episode.
Hold on.
Yes. Oh, man. Of course, man. Go ahead and leave that up, man. But go ahead and leave that up. harvestaf.mytaxportal.online. Right.
Just so you know how to spell it.
Yeah, for real. Just so you know. And yeah, you know how we do it, man. But let's go ahead and start that episode.
Sir.
Hey, Corey, what's up, bro? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. It feels great to be back again for the first time.
Yeah.
Chris would say it.
Yes, sir.
I'm just happy to speak to our followers, our fans, and man, thank y'all for your support, man. We greatly appreciate that. And keep telling your friends, families, aunt, uncle, the homeless man down the street. Tell them to hop on, man. Tell them to subscribe. We appreciate all the love and thank you. Salute.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, getting a lot of love out there. That's why we had to make sure we go ahead and include those links in the description below, simply because we've been getting some requests for all type of help, and we want to make sure that we're there to lend a hand or two or three or four, right? And that's how we come in the door, right? So,
like the Kool-Aid man, boy.
Like the Kool-Aid man. Hey, I saw recently, now I don't know where I saw this, right? It was a clip of a commercial that showed that the Kool-Aid man, the flavor is like an outfit. He's just an empty glass. Did you know that?
But that's one of the greatest debates of our time. Is the Kool-Aid man the liquid, or is he the glass?
Is he the liquid or is he the glass? It turns out the Kool-Aid man is the glass.
Crazy.
He's not the liquid. He picks out the liquid like we pick out clothes.
Crazy.
Right? Because we were always seeing him with, you know how it is, the red.
Right. The red flavor?
It was the red flavor, right? Yeah, we saw him with the red, so we assume if I see him the same way every time, it's just all in one. Right? That's just him. That's who he is. He's the glass and the liquid all in one.
Right.
He was busting through walls and stuff. The glass never cracked and all that. Like, how? Right?
We'll never know. We'll never know.
Yep. But man, everything is wonderful with us. Like I said, we're at the start of a new year. It's the first Cannabruhz episode of 2022. So we want to welcome you and thank you for tuning in. No matter where you are right now in your car, changing your baby's diaper, just cleaning up in the living room, wherever you're listening to the Cannabruhz podcast, we just want to send you our gratitude in this moment. So we appreciate you. Please like, share, subscribe on all of our outlets, Facebook, subscribe to YouTube, everything else we got going on, man, because we got so much more coming for you. All right.
Sure.
So the first thing we got today, y'all know how these episodes go, is the word on the street. And Corey, what are we covering today for word on the street?
Well, as we all know, we are in the middle of a pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got every Greek letter of the alphabet of COVID happening simultaneously, and some of them are teaming up like supervillains and attacking all at the same time.
That's a fact.
But wait! There has been a revelation that has come about that is helping people recover from COVID.
What?
I'm talking about that CBD.
Come on, big wins.
CBD.
Let's go.
Now, the thing about that though, there's a lot of misinformation when it comes to CBD and how it prevents COVID.
For sure.
And so what we want to do today is bust out a scientific article and break down what they found out when it comes to COVID and CBD. One thing I want to let you know. So this is an article from the U.S. National Library of Medicine, National Institute of Health. So the NIH shows it right there, right? So this isn't from CNN. This isn't from Fox News. This is from a credible source.
Yeah.
So we try to bring y'all as much factual information as we can without adding that media spin to it.
Right.
Now I'm just going to cover this paragraph right here because it gets paragraphs because it gets kind of complex. Okay, so we're just going to give y'all the highlights of this article because it gets real complex. So we actually scroll down to the bottom. We're going to post these articles in the description just so you have a chance to look at the same article and do your research and everything. Again, we're not medical professionals, so consult a doctor before you even could think about consuming CBD or just CBD for COVID. All right?
Yeah, be responsible.
Be responsible. Okay, so our research suggests that CBD can block SARS-CoV-2, which is COVID, infection at early stages of infection, and CBD administration is associated with a lower risk of COVID infection in humans. CBD has a number of advantages as a potential preventative agent against COVID. CBD is widely available without restricted access if the content is THC. The content of the THC is less than 0.3%, right? So hemp. There are multiple means of ingestion, including potential for inhalation and nasal delivery. CBD blocks viral replication after entry into cells, and thus is likely to be effective against viral variants with mutant spike proteins. Unlike drugs such as remdesivir or antiviral antibodies, CBD administration does not require injection in hospital settings. Finally, CBD is associated with only minor side effects. As CBD is widely sold as a preparation in an edible oil, we analyzed flavored commercial hemp oils and found a CBD content of only 0.3% in a representative sample, right? So I just want to highlight that again. As CBD is widely sold as a preparation in an edible oil, we analyzed flavored commercial hemp oils and found a CBD content of only 0.3% in the samples that they were looking at. So not 0.3% of hemp, 0.3% of CBD content in the actual hemp oils, okay?
Right.
So keep that in mind. The purity of CBD and in particular, the composition of the materials labeled as CBD are also important, especially in the light of our findings suggesting that other cannabinoids such as THC might other cannabinoids such as THC might act to counter CBD antiviral efficacy. So it's saying that THC and other cannabinoids can work against CBD and properly utilizing its antiviral effect. This essentially eliminates the feasibility of marijuana serving as the effective source of antiviral CBD.
Right.
In addition to issues related to its legal status. Finally, other means of CBD administration, such as vaping and smoking, raises concerns about potential lung damage. And then future studies to explore the optimal means of CBD delivery to patients, along with clinical trials, will be needed to fully test the promise of CBD as a therapeutic block to COVID infection. We strongly caution against the urge to take CBD in presently available formulations as a preventative or treatment therapy at this time, especially without the knowledge of a rigorous, randomized clinical trial with this natural product.
Yeah.
So what is all that saying? In a nutshell, CBD does have beneficial medical impact when it comes to COVID, but don't go to your local store and buy CBD trying to prevent COVID, because that COVID I'm sorry, that CBD, don't go to your local CBD or hemp
shop.
store, CBD shop to buy local CBD, because that might not be the same quality and the same dosage that you need to be effective. So don't overdo it yourself and put yourself in potential harm, pretty much.
All right. I mean, we're talking about the fact that, like they said, they still have to run tests. There's still more research to be done on it. And what's interesting too is COVID's a little bit different, from other, issues that you may have that you try to cure using legal cannabis, basically, right? And you got to realize that much like everything else that's out there in the world, it's not what it says it is, right? So like, I know it just happens to have, there was a coincidence in there where you said 0.3 twice, but yes, we talk about hemp, right? We talk about legal cannabis is 0.3% THC. That's what deems it legal.
Delta 9 THC.
Delta 9 THC, right? That's what deems it legal, right? In the country at this time, on the federal sense. But the crazy thing is, the other 0.3 that you mentioned was the fact that of that 0.3, right? There's only 0.3 that's in the products that they happen to test, right? And they probably just went to a generic, went to a generic shop or whatever, got some product, they tested it, and it says it's probably 100% of that, whatever it claimed it was, right? But it really was only 0.3%. So that's kind of crazy. Yep. Like, dang, bro, first of all, that's misleading. But that also shows you why self-medicating for COVID is a dangerous thing. You can't really do that. You're not a medical professional. And once again, there's not enough being put out there. They would have put it in a packaging as a COVID remedy, right? Or a COVID, you know what I'm saying? That would have been packaged in that way. It's kind of makes it dangerous, or, if you rely on that solely as a cure to COVID.
And also, you got to remember that CBD is not FDA approved. Meaning, like, all the stuff that you're seeing in the store is not FDA approved. Epidiolex is FDA approved, right? And that's what they use for people with epilepsy, as well as, other ailments that's been approved for its use for. But all the CBD in the stores aren't FDA approved. Therefore, you don't know necessarily what you're ingesting.
Right.
Secondly, just don't be one of those people, man. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy drinking Clorox bleach, or was it hydroxychloroquine, or all the other different things, man. Come on, make sure it's our job as citizens to do our proper research and not believe everything we hear on the media, right?
Come on.
Like, it wasn't a hard search to find these articles at all that actually broke the test down. Okay, so let's be responsible. Let's not go and try and fix it ourselves. Yeah.
And that's it. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? Do the right thing. Yeah, take your time though. Take your time. Don't be the first to get the new iPhone. You know what I mean? Take your time and actually figure out what's going on, and make sure that all the research has been done and stuff is tried. There's trials and errors over and over and over. Let the science prove it to be true. Yep. All right. That's it. Yeah. All right. Crazy. Another thing, some other word on the street that I heard about was up there in New York, right? Okay. So in New York, they're creating a $200 million fund, right? And this is for social equity applications. This is for social equity applicants, exactly, that are seeking adult use cannabis licenses. So for the licensing process in New York, $200 million fund, resources that are allocated to those individuals. That's huge.
Right.
Right,
Right.
man. Super big, man. And you know, one, that's a big thing. You know, social equity is huge, and we will speak about social equity today, to be exact. Here's the reason behind it. They see the cannabis industry in New York to bring in approximately $4.2 billion in revenue, right? And they feel like that's a lot of opportunity that can be created. So they said they must create more opportunities for all the New Yorkers that have been historically marginalized within certain communities, right? The public-private fund, so it's a public-private fund, will be used to support social equity cannabis industry applicants, right? And that's exactly what it's for, nothing outside of that. They also say that the program will be funded by industry licensing fees and tax revenues, along with significant private investments. So that's where the money's coming from. So yeah, the fees and taxes, you know, that, you know, New York is already on that list where they've had, you know, medical cannabis legalized already. So they, you know, have fees and taxes that are already being paid, right? And they're able to put that along with some private investment, some very generous individuals, right, that wanted to donate to this fund. Also, you know, a lot of people in New York, for people that are listening to the podcast, if you're out there in New York, this is exactly who this is for. It is targeting anybody who has been a victim of the war on drugs, those minorities, women-owned businesses, distressed farmers, and service-disabled veterans. These are the people that can apply and will be granted access with the social equity status.
Okay.
So I found one cool little quote, and this is from Amber Littlejohn.
Okay.
She's the executive director of the Minority Cannabis Business Association. So she was speaking to Syracuse.com, and she said she loves the spirit of the proposal, but warned that if it comes after the market has already opened, then it's come too late. So kind of like I was mentioning before, it's not like New York for the first time is legalizing cannabis in any way, right? The market's already been open. There already been individuals taking advantage of this booming market, right? And as they estimated, $4.2 billion that they're bringing in. The issue with that is she feels, like many others feel, that, hey, why is this just now happening? Why is this just now happening? Isn't that crazy?
That's a great point that she brings up, actually. And I think it's a great segue into our discussion about social equity.
All right. So you know what time it is? Today, we're going to put you on game.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So today's Put You On Game, like Corey mentioned, is about social equity in the cannabis space.
Before we get started discussing social equity, we want you to understand the definition behind it. So, what is social equity?
First thing you need to know is that social equity concerns those that were negatively impacted by the war on drugs. Now, this definition varies from state to state, and the efforts are initiated to give opportunity of ownership and true belonging in this country to minorities, and most specifically, like we said, those truly impacted, indirectly or directly. Okay, and it comes in many different forms, and everybody seems to have a different answer for social equity. So let's talk about it.
Hey, and so a big thing that I actually had to educate myself on was the difference between social equality versus social equity.
Right.
And they're not the same thing. So I was actually talking to Jerell earlier, and I was like, hey, social, this is a perfect topic because, Martin Luther King was preaching equality and,
Yeah.
For everyone, right?
Right.
But that's actually not the same thing of what social equity is. So equality is
Right.
everybody starting at the same time,
Right.
being treated the same way, right? That's social equality. But social equity is already identifying that some of the other people started before you did, or there's advantages that other people have over you. So this is giving you the opportunity to catch up to them, so that you have a chance at success.
Right. So so at that point you're talking literally ideals versus the truth. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
because just as we know, like in this country, that we're already past the point of everybody starting at the same place.
Right.
We're talking generation, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, right? Like just of years, right, of oppression for many groups, minorities in this country, and people who just don't find themselves in a certain class, and you can break that down in a race, ethnicity, and whatnot in this country. So that's been the debate, man. Is equality? Do you want equality, or are we going to talk equality, or are we going to talk equity? Right? Because after that fairness conversation is done, then it's like, okay, now what do we do about it? Solution based.
And I think as you were talking, it kind of hit me. It's like, so once social, a question that normally pops up when it comes to social equity is, what does a successful social equity program look like?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And everybody has ideas, everybody has, theories, but we don't have that answer of specifically for all what a successful social equity program looks like.
Right.
But it made me think of, so once that has been achieved, though, once social equity has been achieved where you've caught back up, then that's where social equality comes in, because now everybody needs, once everybody's on the same playing field, now everybody needs the same opportunities to move.
Right.
Nobody's being held back from there on out.
Right.
That's just my opinion on it.
No, that's right.
But yeah. Now there's multiple types of social equity. So I'm gonna name a few of them that most social equity programs fall into one of these 5 buckets. So criminal justice reforms, including automatic expungement of past cannabis offenses.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. Or reinvesting a percentage of marijuana tax revenue into the most impacted communities.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one. Creating a cohesive cannabis industry licensing framework with special considerations for people affected by the war on drugs.
Right.
Fostering diversity in the cannabis workforce, and health.
Right.
So those are the 5 main buckets that social equity falls into. And it can be all inclusive, or it may just focus on a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say today, on today's episode, we're going to primarily focus on criminal justice reforms, including automatic expungement of past cannabis offenses, and reinvesting a percentage of marijuana tax revenue into the most impacted communities. Who's going to be impacted by your social equity program, right?
Right. That's true.
Is it going to be in a certain geographic area? Do you have to live in an impoverished area, or do you have to have past or current or past arrests or drug convictions? Do you have to have an income limitation? Do you have to go to like a certain public school, or have to have lost your house or evicted or been evicted or been foreclosed? Or do you have to be a certain race? you know, and I don't know, it'd be tough for governmental officials to say, well, you qualify because you're black. You know, while the black community like, well, duh, yeah, I qualify. I'm black. And maybe from a governmental political standpoint, just saying you qualify based off race may not work well for them. But
Right.
once we figure that out, then we got to figure out decriminalization versus legislation.
Right. Right. I mean, so many different there's programs that have already begun to pop up, you know, in the country, right? There's reports of and of course not reports, but experiences, right, for the people in Illinois, California as well, and we've seen a lot of things pop up. So, like, what do you think about some of the programs and stuff that you've seen, and you know, through kind of research and looking through it? You know, Texas clearly does not have this established, so we had to kind of dig out far, you know, to be able to kind of understand this a little bit better. But this is so important because, like, people don't just want to. I mean, there's different options, of course. Yes, you talk about employment, but people don't just want to work for someone. You know, oh, I couldn't get a job, you know, at this farm, or I couldn't get a job at this dispensary or whatever before. And now they're requiring people to have, you know, there's a quota to be met and all that kind of stuff. But like, what does that mean when we know as minorities in this country, we have to dig so far? You know, like we had or we're in such a hole, right? Like we trying to figure out how to get to flatland minimum.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if I really want to just take your job. I don't know if I want to take that salary position. That's fine for maybe me and my household or whatever like that. But like the damage that has been done to minorities in this country, you know, goes further than just one household or separate households, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, you can you know, go now. Like I said, it's not, think of like going outside of your immediate family and taking care of your entire family, right? Because you've had how many individuals in your family actually, you know, that are in prison or have a criminal record due to the laws surrounding cannabis, right? So like that's impacting them, their spouses, their children, right? Because they're not having that certain influence in the home financially, you know, financial influence, if it's spiritual influence, you know, emotional, mental, it goes over. And as you mentioned before, we have to address the health side of the things as well. But not to dig too deep in there, I'm just saying there's so many different ways that this has to be corrected. You know what I mean?
Right. So this is a big thing for me. So when we talk about decriminalization versus legislation, right?
Legalization, right?
What did I say?
Legislation. We need that legislation, though. We need that legislation, right? For both.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So when we talk decriminalization versus legalization, right?
Yeah.
I am not for legalization unless there has been social equity programs put in place to ensure that the communities impacted by the war on drugs are taken care of first. And once the communities are taken care of first, and they get a fair, then there is that sense of equality, right? When there's that fair, okay, now your population, now your demographics are proportionately represented in all facets of the cannabis industry. Now let's focus on legalizing.
Right.
For the fact of when we talked about equity, right? So one team, you know, I think of it like a race, right? So if it's a 100-meter yard sprint, right? 100-meter dash, I mean, right? And you're starting at the 100-meter line, right? And they said, these lanes 1 through 4 get a 3-second head start. Okay.
Right.
On top of that, you have a weight tied to your ankle. Okay. You got some ankle weights on. And they said, all right, ready? Are your mark? Get set. Pow! Right. So they've already taken off. They got the 3-second jump. And now you're trying to catch up, right?
Right.
If legalization occurs before you get the opportunity to catch up, take that weight off, and run a fair race, you're going to be left behind even more. Because think about the same analogy. You're going to get tired faster. Right? You're going to get tired faster. They're going to reach the finish line faster. You're going to have a slower time. And the chance of injury is a lot higher because you have external factors at play.
Yeah, I like that analogy too. Straight up, I respect that analogy. That's a really good analogy. Me and Corey speak in analogies and metaphors all the time. So that's a really good analogy. I think about it too, because you're like, yo, as you might complain, man, I got a weight on my leg. And then they say, well, it's a weight on everybody's leg, aka taxes, fees. But right, so it's a weight on my leg. And you complain, everybody got the same weight. You're like, yeah, but they got a 3-second head start though.
And my weight is heavier.
No. I just mean, I guess the way I'm kind of bending your analogy, but I just mean like if weight is like taxes and stuff you it sucks, right? It sucks that it's there, but it's there, right? But it's on everybody. It's on every business, right? So if they just simply just tie the weight to all of the dogs in the race, right? Mm-hmm. But your complaint is this weight is killing me. That's before the race even started, right? Mm-hmm. How am I supposed to survive with this weight? You think about how messed up the weight, how much damage the weight is going to do to your leg and your body and everything. And then the other dogs are like, hey, shut up. We got the same weight on our legs.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And then you're like, yeah, but you got a head start though.
Hey, they're telling you to run faster.
Run faster then. You look like you're in good shape.
Right. So, and to bring it into real terms.
Yeah.
So imagine no programs are set up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not only minority programs, right, but mom and pop businesses as well, right?
Right.
So it has scale to it. So if cannabis is legalized, let's say federally, right?
Mm-hmm. Now
big business is in, bam, right? So now they're going to start establishing these mass, 4,000 acre cannabis farms. So think about that, right? So if there's like 4 farms in the US used to supply all distributors, now automatically the mom and pop cultivators are out.
Yep.
Okay. Now Walmart, all them other big businesses are in, right? Now, if Walmart says we're gonna start selling cannabis, oh snap! Now they can afford to lower the price so much lower than the average retailer or dispensary can sell, right? Mm-hmm. And that's going to put them out of business already. And they can get it in mass supply because they have the money and the power to purchase so much more in bulk. And so now what is that doing? That's kicking out the mom and pop businesses. And now when we look at the mom and pop businesses and we look at the proportionality of how many of those mom and pop businesses are low income, and to speak specifically to like the Black community, right? It's like 4% ownership within the mom and pop industry, within the cannabis industry
as a whole.
Industry as a whole, right? And majority of those are mom and pop businesses. So we're already behind the curve trying to get into the position to get the capital, to get the business, to get the license, so on and so forth, where some of our counterparts may have access to that a lot easier than you do, right?
Right.
and I'm not gonna keep going in the weeds because we can talk about it.
Yeah, I think they get the point though. Yeah, you're coming from behind. You're battling. You know how it is. If anybody has an older sibling or whatever, or understands that dynamic, you're already battling. Big brother in a sense, not the way you guys think of big brother, but you know what I mean. You're battling hell. It's almost like, trying to go. You're like you're trying to talk about who has the most money and you're a kid with your parents. You get what I'm saying? Like that, it's that unfair, and then if you think that it won't actually happen, ask people how they felt back in the day during when they legalized alcohol and the prohibition there, right? Like ask about them. There was tons of small, like what Corey said, mom and pop businesses, right? And they just weren't able to sustain after big business got involved. Okay, we're legalized, everything's good. Cool. It's time to monopolize this thing. I mean, well, legally monopolize this thing, however that goes. And that's the messed up part, that we're speaking about. You got to understand that it's playing from a fair game. And if you think, like I said, that they can't do it, I dare you, since you're so bold and you're standing up for the cause and everything, I want to see you turn down that fat check that they knock on your door with when they want to buy that land. Like Corey mentioned, like let's say it's 4 farms now. It ain't as many farms as it is now. They take that down and marginalize that down to 4 farms, right? How many of you think that you're gonna have ownership in that farm? And no, I'm not talking about if it's public traded stock. No, I'm talking about how many people actually have ownership in the actual company.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And then at that point, we're killing the spirit that is we're killing the engine. You know what I'm saying? You're killing the spirit that's behind the cannabis movement. It's been the small people that have really gotten the big gatekeepers to open their eyes as to the positive effects and what cannabis can do health-wise, economically, right? And just what it does overall to limit some of the dangers that are out there.
And like another big thing is like a lot of people like, legalize marijuana, legalize cannabis, legalize, which, okay, at some point, yes, but you got to take care of yourself and your community first, right?
Right.
You can't just aimlessly say legalize, but what does that mean, right? And for me personally, that's where that decriminalization piece comes in. It's like before it's legalized, it needs to be decriminalized, right? Or the decriminalization has to come at some point, because for people to profit the way they are while you got arrested because you had cannabis in the Crown Royal bag in your car, right? and I don't know, you switch lanes without hitting your blinker, you get pulled over, and he's like, hey, what's in that bag? You open the bag, it's some cannabis or weed, and they're like, all right, no, come with me. And now you're in jail and you got a record for something like that. And you're in jail, let's say 5+ years, and you're seeing people and you're hearing about people becoming millionaires and billionaires off the same plant that you got locked up for.
Bruh.
Like that's crazy to me. That's crazy. Like that's why I'm if I had to, I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that because y'all gonna pigeonhole me to a certain thing. So I'm not gonna say that. But I will say that decriminalization has to occur, man.
Yeah.
Because you just got to think about the individuals that are being impacted. And it actually brings me to the point of on the decriminalization versus legalization, right? So when you go to the decriminalization side, what offenses, right? So if cannabis is decriminalized, right?
Yeah.
And the government, the state government or the federal government says, all right, so since it's not illegal anymore, let's release or let's expunge some of the records of the people that were arrested, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what offenses are covered? What offenses now are going to be deemed expunged or sealed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a tricky one. That's a tricky one to answer, right? So who deserves to be let go, right?
Man, and I want to bring this, now that we on camera, bro. Me and Corey were talking about this like yesterday, day before, just about like this issue, right? Because so state to state is going to be different, and what we're trying to come to is some kind of like median, right? Some happy median, where everybody can say this is the law, and let's carry this out if we're going to have federal decriminalization or expungement for cannabis offenses, right? What's the limit, like Corey said, right? Yesterday when we were talking about this, it was like, it got to be set to a realistic. It has to be set to a realistic amount because, right, I can be a big time, big dog smoker, right? I also could live far from the plug, right? So when I go to cop something, right, I don't cop. Let's say it's me, my wife, whatever, right? And we're avid big smokers, right? But we live far from where we get our cannabis. So when we go to get the cannabis, you're not copping any less than, let's say at a time, let's say we want to do big so we don't have to go back and we keep it fresh in home and whatever. You're not going to cop any less than five ounces. What if that's just how we feel, right? Like, what if that's just how we feel? Like, I don't have time to do this all the time. I'm a busy person. I don't have time to go back and forth. Is that a fair amount? Because in many cases, it's been much lower than that, right? So you could catch this offense easily for the simple fact that you are actually going out to make multiple transactions. Like you're this happening, you're making more transactions in a shorter period of time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because you do have to worry about the laws that are in place as far as not just fines, but jail time for the amount that you actually have on you. So
and it was a great discussion yesterday, and let's carry it on a little bit more here. So I personally think it has to be based off of weight, right? How much weight are you moving, right? Mm-hmm. And the question that you just posed is, right, how much weight is too much weight? How much weight is the intent to distribute versus how much weight is for personal consumption, right?
Correct.
And then there's that gray area of, well, I just smoke a lot. like, or I live far from the plug, right?
Right.
And I don't have that answer, so I can't give that answer. But I do.
It's our podcast. It's just a conversation.
Right.
And the crazy thing is, and I'm glad you brought that up too, because I was looking it up. There's a couple states where you have to petition for your expungement, okay, of the records, versus a couple right now. The one that's active and another one that's in talks where it's not effective yet, where you don't have to, and it automatically happens through a system-based program, right? So you have Arizona, and it's more than this, but for time purposes, I'm just gonna keep a couple, right? The Arizona and Colorado, right? It's required. It has to be petitioned. So the way the law is set, that upon receipt of petition, right, for expungement, then these charges will be reviewed, to be expunged, right? Mm-hmm. And in fact, in Colorado, it's sealed automatically, which is dope. So it's automatically sealed, right? Yeah. But it's not automatically expunged. You get what I'm saying? And why? I'm not quite sure, and I believe they're probably working through it. Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. So nobody can see it on your record,
right?
But it's still there.
But it's still there. Like, so who?
You're still a criminal.
That? You still a criminal. Like, you're a secret criminal, right? So it's like, but you know what that tells me though? I start questioning, right? That's just the conspiracy theorists or whatever, like it'd be right. So I start thinking, I'm like, well, who needs to know that information, right? Because somebody has access to that information, right? Because what happens, we've seen in other criminal cases, well, if we can petition to a judge to have the records unsealed because I can prove that it's needed to prove guilt in a separate case that has nothing to do with, let's say, cannabis or cannabis consumption or whatever you got it for. See what I'm saying? So it's like, well, who is that for? So it's for the law. And I'm going, no, that's not really fair. So, you know, once again, up to this point, y'all be careful out there, you know what I'm saying, in Colorado, and know your rights, know what's actually going on, because it's sealed automatically. But at the same time, they're not saying that you can't have it expunged, but it's not automatic. So you catch these cases, you get out, you think everything is good. Make sure you hire a lawyer, an attorney that is going to also petition for your stuff to be released, because at this time it's not released, but also expunged, because at this time it's not. Now, the other side of that, I had 2 other states where it's not required, right? California actually passed the bill in 2018 for this, right?
Okay.
So now it's a system-based type thing, right? Like, once it was passed, anybody, you go through these list of charges or list of offenses, all pertaining, of course, to, you know, cannabis and whatnot in 2018. So now there's no need for you to petition for expungement. Also, be on the lookout, because effective the first day, January 1st of 2023, so almost a year from today, Connecticut is authorizing automatic relief for certain possession offenses. Like I said, certain possession offenses, so make sure you do your homework. And this is for people who caught, now check this out, this is for people who caught these possession offenses from January 1st of 2000 to September 30th of 2015, right? I mean, we're still talking about, it had to happen within these 15 and a half years, right?
Right.
So those are, I mean, at least it's some movement, and then, you know, I'm sure they're still working on different legislation, but that's what's already been passed to be effective next year. Another thing too, man, they ain't too quick to let everybody out of jail. You know what I'm saying? You've seen that with how they handle COVID. You know what I mean? But they ain't too quick to just let everybody out of jail. So one of the ways they pigeonhole you is that in most real life situations, you're catching other offenses, right? Just things that happen in the moment, things that happen during the arrest. If they deem that violent, right? Like, you were trying to get away from the officer and you were trying to protect yourself, you swing your arm this way, all of a sudden it's assault on the officer. It's a violent crime, isn't it? See what I'm saying? So like, couldn't it be? Couldn't it be a violent crime? And you got this, right? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It can be twisted in that way, not for everybody, but it can be twisted in that way, right? And then all of a sudden you have a violent crime, and the only reason they're even chasing you in the first place is because of the possession crime that you were trying to avoid because of law. But then that goes into the next point that you made, right? Was the fact that they said it couldn't have occurred. It could not have occurred before legalization, meaning they wanted legalization first.
I think it said it had to have occurred before legalization.
Okay, so they do want decriminalization first, then.
Let me find it. It says and occurred before legalization.
So the offense had to occur before legalization.
Right. So if, let's say your record's expunged, right?
Yeah.
Now, just because your record's expunged doesn't mean it's decriminalized.
Yep.
So they could say this is our social equity. We're expunging these records, right?
Yep.
Because cannabis is legalized or being legalized, right?
Right.
But it still may not be decriminalized. Therefore, after legalization, if you get caught with, let's say, whatever the legal amount in that, let's say, state and or federally, right? If you get caught above so let's say 5 ounces is the limit, and you get caught with 8 ounces, right? Your butt going to jail, and you can't have it expunged because it happened after legalization. Or if you're caught selling to minors,
right,
after legalization, right? Your
butt's
going to jail.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's fair in my opinion. I haven't put too much thought into it, but just for face value, I think it's fair. Like, hey, I mean, it still needs to be decriminalized. I'm 100% it needs to be decriminalized, right? But it's also, in my opinion, I think it's fair for it says everybody up to legalization, because that covers so many, however many years people have been getting arrested for cannabis, right? It covers all of them, right? And this is a big thing when it comes to decriminalization that I think is huge versus legalization. Okay. So when it comes to decriminalization, so imagine all the people that are locked up in jail, right? So let's say 5 ounces is the amount that they legalize, right? Everybody with less than 5 ounces expunged. Let's say it's automatic. Let's say it's automatic expungement. Okay. That's hundreds of thousands of people already. Okay. Excuse me. Then you look at the population of the prison system, right? It's predominantly Black and Hispanic, right? All of them are free, right? Okay. Now, keep in mind, so a lot of these are non-violent first-time offenders. So this is, again, it could be me, Crown Royal bag in the driver's seat, in the passenger seat. Like, dang, I was slipping, got caught up, right?
Yeah.
All right. So now that they're free, okay, they don't have to go, and it's expunged. They don't have to go into the cannabis industry, right? They can go to any industry they want. Let's say, because if you think about it, when you look at people's record, that can stop them from going to college, it can stop them from getting jobs, it can stop them from pursuing careers, it can stop them from getting type of federal aid, it can stop them from getting all that stuff.
And then
right. And a lot of them, what do they have to do? Go back to the streets.
Go back.
They're like, and that's a discussion me and Jerell had the other day. It's like,
what other choice do I kind of have to even make a decent amount of money? I ain't even saying I'm going back to the street now. You know how the game work. You go back to what you know. You go back on the same level you left off on, even though you started with nothing. But you still got your rep. You still got probably your crew. You still got people that you rock with. Same plugs. You know who to go to. You know the numbers to call. Know the areas to go. Right. But it sucks for the fact that now your family, when they want to help you out, your family trying to help you out, they want to, get you on track and everything. You've been in prison talking that God talk. You want to get into, oh man, I'm a follower of God, or I converted to this religion, or whatever, right? And all that's good and dandy until you get out on the street and realize there's no options, bro. At least in jail, I had a job that paid me $4 a day, but I knew my status. I knew who I was. I knew how to conduct myself day to day, right? So now I'm out here and you got sharks that aren't violent, right? Like they may have been potentially in prison and whatnot, but I have so many different threats to my livelihood, and all I'm trying to do is take care of myself, my family. I might have kids. I might just have nieces, nephews I'm trying to provide for, trying to help my mom out. She divorced, she needs help. You ain't got a man there, whatever the situation may be, right? And I want to do that, but now you giving me no legal options. They looking at me, I'm a felon or whatever like that, and like what options do I really have other than going back to the street, being illegal, taking risk on my life and my freedom?
Let's say everything's expunged, and so now you have the opportunity to live your life. Okay, and not only that, so now you have the opportunity for better employment again, right? Because nothing holding you back is expunged. It's expunged and sealed. Let's say it's both, right? So nobody can see it. You're not getting penalized for it.
Right.
Now, let's say you want to go be a doctor. You got the opportunity to go be a doctor. And imagine, so your kids get you back. Your household becomes whole again. Or you can start a family and create a meaningful livelihood, right? Now, this is the kicker. Now your kids have the opportunity to live normal lives with their dad back in the picture. Now that benefits and impacts the kids. So now because imagine if the dad's out the picture, say the mom is struggling to pay for the child, right? Now the kid is being raised by the streets, then it's a vicious cycle, right?
Yeah, mom works 3 jobs. Right. Mom's never home, no supervision, nobody telling you to do your homework, right? The cycle that's been going on for generations and generations already at this point, right?
Right.
That's also like, I'm sorry not to interrupt, bro, but you know how, like you were saying before, you know, how, you know, some people just be like, of course I've been affected. I'm Black. You know what I'm saying? Like when they say it from that standpoint, they're saying like, and everybody's experience is different. That's don't get it twisted. We all know that, right? Corey and I had different experiences growing up Black, like whatever that means. It's different for everybody. But you know, the people they yell that out from that frustration of their experience, right? Like they're literally saying, yo, yeah, because we didn't have food to eat. The lights were off at times. I couldn't afford books. I couldn't afford, so I didn't do well at school. I could never get good at test taking. I could never, you get what I'm saying? So all of a sudden, I don't end up going to college. So my buddy down the street where they had, or a couple streets over or whatever, who lived technically in a slightly better area or whatever, never had those issues. You get what I'm saying? His parents were there. Nobody was arrested based off these drug offenses. And now he had 2 incomes in the household instead of 1, and with the struggle, right? So you got, right? So it's worse than just 1. 1 with the struggle is worse than 1. And that's that you know what I'm saying? That's the part where it's that early difference. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it's small, but the difference was made 15 years back or 10 years back when one of the parents was taken out of the home for these offenses. Right, man, and that's the difference. And now that kid, like who knows where that kid would have been? Who knows what that kid, you know, and wouldn't have had to been the decision that kid would have never made if he or she was not put in desperation. You know, if there was every, you know.
And so I say all that to say, so I'm not anti-legalization, right? But there has to be protocols to take care of the people that have been consistently disadvantaged by the war on drugs from 1970s, before 1970s to now. You have to take care of those people, and whether it be and we'll talk about this a little bit later. But when it comes to licensing, right, giving people of color, giving minorities licenses for cannabis businesses, right, that's another way of social equity. And I put that. So that's the versus is licenses versus expungement, because licensing. If there's 100 people, if there's 100 licenses to give out, let's say 20% of those go to minority applicants, right? And those minority applicants get the licenses. Now they can start their business, right? That's helping those 20 people. Now, naturally, minorities would hire more minorities, right? But let's say that's a scale of 5. So all 20 applicants that got licenses hire 5 people each. So that's 100 people in total, right? That's been impacted. Okay. So you have 100 people that were positively impacted versus, like I just said, like we just spoke about, if you decriminalize cannabis for 5 ounces and less, that's thousands, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that have been positively impacted.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying that you can't do both at the same time. You should do both. It shouldn't be mutually exclusive. Like it should be a package deal. Right. That's exponentially better in that way, right? So licenses plus decriminalization. I think once that happens, then the topic of legalization should come about so that everybody's taken care of, from the minorities to the mom and pops and so on and so forth.
So yeah, this is a conversation though. This overall social equity and eventual equality is a conversation that should be had further than one episode, further than one sit down with an interesting party. Like we have to make sure, and I'm speaking out there to all the responsible pro-cannabis enthusiasts, right? Look, this is a conversation, and it's crazy that this isn't the first conversation that's had when a person is interested in getting in any kind of cannabis business, ancillary or not, right? Like we have to make sure, if we're going to talk about getting involved in the cannabis industry, we have to talk about social equity, right? You're talking about the purpose of, like, if you really believe it, if this is really what you believe, you're getting involved in cannabis not to be an opportunist, there's opportunities and you're going to benefit, right? But if you're getting in cannabis and you claim that it's for social benefit, then it's no way that the next conversation should not be about social equity. We have to speak more about social equity in within our friend groups, professionally in the cannabis sector. Like we have to make sure we get into that so people know the purpose. Where do you stand on the purpose? If I'm getting involved with somebody's business, you should have the opportunity to decide and to know where a person stands. We're so quick to get into your political stance and what party you support and everything like that. I want to know, to be honest, I'm gonna look you in your eye and I want to know, where do you stand on as far as social equity? Where do you stand? And so let's have the conversation more, and we're going to continue to have the conversation in further episodes of the Cannabruhz for sure.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So I think it's about that time, man.
It's about that time.
It's about that time.
It's about that time. Hey.
It's about that time.
It's about that time. Hey, it's about that time. It's time for some plug
talk. Hey.
So look, man, welcome back. If you love these segments we do called Plug Talk, where all we're doing is giving people their flowers while they can smell them and whatever else they want to do with them.
Canna flowers.
Yes, sir. You know what we do. So, man, we wanted to take this time out to shed some light on some really dope companies that are doing their thing in the cannabis sector. Okay. First up, is going to be Canna Capital Holdings, right? That's the LLC, but Canna Capital Insurance, and they do so much more, right? They do so much more, and I hope you guys can kind of see everything that's going on. You gotta blow that up to the full screen right there, right? So first thing is Canna Capital's insurance firm. We spoke to the lovely Simone Kaysen, and please, she will correct you if you're getting that last name wrong. So go ahead and feel free to correct me. But we spoke to her about, and that's an agent with Canna's Capital Insurance firm. Now they're offering, this is what they're providing. They provide protection for the unique risk of cannabis and craft beverage companies. We're talking life and health, property, product, general liability, even auto, employee benefits, 401ks, and they do cover all legal license types in the 50 states. Now, this is really dope. We spoke with the young lady the other day, Simone, and what she was telling us is, and kind of help further educating us on, is just the fact that a lot of, once they hear you have a cannabis business, there's a lot of vendors and insurance firms and whatnot that just won't touch you because the liability is high. We're still dealing with legislation not being clear, especially on the federal level, so where people feel protected by getting in bed with the cannabis company. So what they do is they offer all of these services and these insurance types to individuals that are looking for this with cannabis somehow involved with their situation. Also, we're talking about compliant cannabis credit and debit card processing. If you're a cannabis business out there that is looking for processing, we already know we have the issue with banking, and Corey spoke about it a little bit earlier about a lot of cannabis businesses, of course, being cash intensive, and we have to make sure that you have the correct card processing. So they do handle that as well. And they also have, that brings me to Canna's Capital Securities, right? So they offer unique lending solutions to help you along the journey with your cannabis business, as well as a innovative POS system, right? That they have their POS system that is compatible with a lot of the major bookkeeping platforms as well. And they offer a live demo for prospects that are interested. So, man, go to www.cannascapital, that's CANNASCAPITAL.com. If you're interested, if you are a cannabis business out there, they do have a location in Illinois and another in Michigan. In Michigan, they are at 1657 Getty Street, and that's Muskegon, Michigan. Muskegon, Michigan, right? Zip code 49444. You can also go ahead and contact them at 616-888-4796. They are accredited by the Better Business Bureau.
Yes,
So,
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, really quick, just a little shout out, little shout out to Simone once again.
Shout out.
Yeah, we Cannabruhz and Harvest Accounting Firm have also been in talks for some other major things with Canna's Capital and Simone Cason, to be exact. And we just stay tuned, and we look forward to sharing more information about more stuff that's going on between us when the time's right. All right.
Yes, sir. Simone, you get that Cannabruhz stamp of approval.
Bam!
Wow. All right. Who else we got?
Also today, we go ahead and put that up in the corner so y'all can see it. That is Texas Cannabis TV. All right. So we're going to talk about Texas Cannabis TV. All right. So Texas Cannabis TV, was founded by our boy Dalton O'Neill. So shout out to Dalton. Also
What's
shout
up,
out.
Dalton?
Yeah. What's up? What up? What up? What up? Also shout out to Juan as well.
What's going on, Juan?
Yeah. So, man, Dalton O'Neill is the founder of Texas Cannabis TV. You can check them out at www.texascannabis.tv. Their IG handle is the same, IG at Texas Cannabis TV. So, Texas Cannabis TV aims to deliver quality content that is educational and entertaining to highlight the Texas cannabis industry. They're the platform for what's going on within the cannabis industry in the state of Texas, right? Also in conjunction with Green Light Events Company, man. So Texas Cannabis TV, big shout out from the Cannabruhz. Just want to let y'all know that, what they get, Corey?
That official Cannabruhz stamp of approval.
Wow. Yeah. So, but check Greenlight Event Company out as well. They offer production, audio, visual, lighting, event consulting, and marketing, as well as digital media for your events and what you got going on, especially if you're a cannabis company, hemp, of course, in Texas, until otherwise, right? So that's just how that's going to go. Y'all get this, of course, a stamp of approval from the Cannabruhz, and that's Texas Cannabis TV. Once again, Dalton, you already know what it is, bro. We definitely gonna have some conversations, even on camera, at a later time, because we got to further this movement, and we got to figure out how we can get the word out about what's really going on in the cannabis industry, especially to the state of Texas primarily, right? And of course, nationally as well. So shout out to the entire team over there at Texas Cannabis TV. Hey, we'll be seeing you soon.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, man. Hey, Corey. First episode of 2022.
First episode of 2022. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yes, sir.
So we're done. We appreciate your time. Before we get out of here really quick, we just want to run that thing one more time back. While I put Corey on the production real quick. Always remember, this episode of the Cannabruhz is sponsored by Harvest Accounting Firm LLC. That's a squad, right? In the description below, you can click on the link, the Calendly link. That'll be calendly.com/harvestaf/strategy session, so that you, as a cannabis business in need of tax planning, tax preparation, bookkeeping, month-to-month accounting, as not to limit us there, as well as a network that can provide you with capital, digital marketing, and other services. Please click on that link below to get a free 15-minute call with the guys, so we can start getting into your situation and finding solutions that will fit you and get you to living a cannanormous life, So make sure you hit us up by clicking the link in the description below, so we can go ahead and get busy and do what we can to get you where you need to be and give you the success that you deserve. Also, of course, in the description below, you will find the URL for our direct URL if you're in need of tax services. Okay, you're going to see that harvestaf.mytaxportal.online. That's harvestaf.mytaxportal.online. If you're in need of tax services, please reach out to Harvest Accounting Firm. You'll also see us in the ticker below. Reach out to us so that we can help you with your tax needs. We're at the start of the year, and whether you are thinking about the taxes for 2021 that you need taken care of, or want to make sure that we can start setting you up for success going throughout the year, please give us a call so we can handle that and get you right. All right. And once again, man, you know what I need? That first one. Oh, I need that first official outro of 2022, Corey. Give it to him, man.
Well, y'all know what it is. Y'all know what time it is. Real quick, make sure y'all check out episode 2. We're talking about social equity. We're going to cover more the different types of equity within the cannabis community and how it benefits those impacted by the war on drugs.
Thanks.
Now, if you loving the show, loving the podcast, again, make sure you like, subscribe, share with your friends and family.
Yep.
Hashtag more brown faces and black faces in the green spaces. Hashtag support the movement. Hashtag Cannabruhz.
Yeah.
And hashtag Harvest AF. And what's the AF stand for?
Always fighting for social equity.
Always fighting for social equity. I love it.
That's right. Yep.
All right. Well, we appreciate y'all taking the time to watch us, and we out.
We out.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Here to give you knowledge that you didn't know. Put you on some game, now you got a buzz. You are now listening to Cannabruhz.